Hi, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. This is Amy from With Love by Amy, and today we are going to use some of these patterned papers that are kind of too bold for my taste in everyday use. So I am inspired by Jennifer McGuire to redo these pattern papers so that they fit my style a little bit more. This is a very old pack of pattern paper that I think my stepsister gave me for Christmas a long, long time ago, like probably back in the day when I was scrapbooking. So this is the first one we're going to do. I am rubbing emboss the anti-static powder tool across there, and we're going to like spot emboss a couple of these heat emboss a couple of these flowers just to keep them the color they are, and then we're going to tone down the rest of the card. This is an embossing pen. This has embossing ink in it, and it's from Versamark. I've had it for a really long time, but the tip was a little messed up, so you just saw me trim the fuzzy stuff off of it so that it would not make a mess of my card. We just had to make the tip be a little pointy again. I think those pens are only like $5 or something, or at least they were when I bought them. So I'm not too concerned if I ruin the pen. I've had it for quite a while, so I could just replace it if it does end up getting ruined by my attempted scissoring. But it helped. It did help. Trimming it down helped. So we're going to clear heat emboss it, and we're just going to put the heat embossing powder over the spots that I drew the embossing powder on. And if there's any stray embossing powder in spots you don't want it, like if you touched the paper after you put the anti-static powder tool on it, then you can just use a small paintbrush and wipe it off. All right, so now it's been heat embossed, and we're going to take this, I think it's Vintage Photo. Um, Maybe it's not Vintage Photo. I don't know what color it is, but a darker color because it's too bright for me. And we're going to just put the ink on the paper. Okay, that Distress Oxide ink is ground espresso. It is not Vintage Photo. But we're just going to ink blend it onto the pattern paper. And I'm not too worried about it being, neat or anything like that. Because I'm just trying to dull down the flowers. Like, I just want it to be a little more muted and look a little more vintagey, I guess. Because it's much bolder than I usually do, especially with pattern paper. So we're going to kind of wipe off the excess after we've let it dry a little bit. And this is what it looks like after I'm done with it. I just find a sentiment in my stash and put it on there. And then this is by far the most time consuming card that I do today with the selections I've made. One of the things that I recently learned from Jennifer McGuire is like I don't know why it never dawned on me before, is you don't have to cut your pattern paper like literally from the edge. I trimmed off the edges because the edges weren't, just squares. It was like half a square, and I didn't want half a square. I wanted it to be exact. I wanted exact squares on my card. So what we're doing is I cut a piece with the squares. You can see it over there on the right hand side. And I cut some more strips with more squares. And what we're going to do is we are going to turn those into colors. I'm going to do basically some ink blending on them. I have the Electro Pop inks from Gina K, and I think I want to go very bold with this, just because it seems like it'd be fun. It could take it from black and white to really bold. And what I'm doing here with the paper trimmer is I'm lining it up with the lines on the paper trimmer so that I can see what I'm doing and make sure that I get the squares cut very nice and cleanly. My first try, I tried to use one of these little finger dauber things, and they're not in the best of shape because they're pretty old, but I don't end up being a fan of the finger dauber thing. It doesn't do the greatest job, and it looks blotchy and gross. So after this, I just end up going direct to paper. I do have all 8 of these colors, and I use all 8 of these colors. Doing this, I just wanted a variety of these very bright colors, and doing it direct to paper, it worked out pretty quickly, or pretty well, and went quickly. I just made sure that I wiped off my surface in between colors. And I really, at this point, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do. Like, I'm going to make some sort of pattern on my card by covering up some of the squares, but I don't know what I'm going to do. So I just wanted to make sure I had a variety of all the colors, and we're just coloring them, making a stash, using all the fun, bright colors. I know, isn't that funny? I went from the last card to making making that one dulled down, and then I'm going to make a super bright card here. I don't know. This one just makes sense. What would you do with this cardstock? Leave me a comment below and let me know what you would do with these pattern papers to make them into something you like. All right, so now we are sticking them onto the card in just a random pattern with foam squares behind them. And here it is. It's got some texture to it, or, you know, look at that. I love it. It's pretty cool. Now we got to figure out how to finish it. But like I said, this is the most time consuming. So I have this happy birthday sentiment die, which all the pieces are separate. I didn't realize that when I got it, but all the pieces are separate. It's from Simon Says Stamp. I believe maybe it was a freebie. So what I'm doing here is I'm giving this a try. I kept all the letters in the die in the piece of paper, or in the piece of cardstock, and this is holographic cardstock from, oh my gosh, I can't remember. I'll link it in the comments below because I will remember as soon as I stop doing this voiceover. Erin Lee Creative, that's what it's from. So I only put glue on the parts that needed to be glued down, not the negative spaces that you see me picking out there. So there's no glue on those negative spaces. I'm just picking them out. And I think this worked pretty well to space it out and everything, because I'm really usually pretty bad at spacing sentiments out. So this was a win for me. I don't know how time consuming wise it was, good for me, but I think it was a win. So we're going to put a clear acrylic black on there to just keep it set while it sets up. And now we're going to use some more of that holographic paper. And yes, it is from Erin Lee Creative. I will link it below. I'm not an affiliate for her or anything, but I do love her cardstocks. And all the cool ones are always out of stock. It's such a bummer. But I digress. All right. So we're using little strips of the holographic paper along the edges there to fill the space and to kind of make it look like I had a whole panel of it behind there, but I did not, because that would be wasteful of the magnificent holographic cardstock. And then what we're going to do where we're putting the sentiment is we're just going to glue it down on the higher pieces where they have the dimension behind them. I'm just going to put glue on that so that it's, stuck. And there is that card. That one took a long time. All right, so here is another ink blending-ish card that I'm doing. I'm taking these roses, and I just thought I didn't want them to be black and white. I wanted there to be some color. And when I started doing this, it reminded me very much of like the 90s, of that like black and white with just a little bit of pink to it. I can't remember what that stuff was called. If anybody remembers, leave me a comment below, because I was obsessed with that stuff in like the late 90s, early 2000s. And I totally can't remember what it was called. But I think that's Kitsch Flamingo or Spun Sugar. I'm not sure. But I wanted to kind of like reverse highlight one flower, and let me know what you think of this down in the comments below. All right, so here is the card I did first. And here's another card that I didn't get any footage of, but I basically went over the whole thing with Kitsch Flamingo. And this is the last card. Let me know which one is your favorite. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day and see you soon. Bye.